Today on Happy Hallmarkies, we're talking about all the Christmas movies that aired the first week of December. Let's do it!
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello. Happy December.
Happy December.
We've watched so many Christmas movies by this point that when you said that, I was like, wait a minute. It really is just the first weekend of December, but it is at the time of this recording.
Our movie count is now 22.
22? I thought it was 23. 22?
22, 23. It's around there.
We're up there.
Welcome back, everybody, back to AfterBuzz TV Happy Hallmarkies show. Yes, that is the Tenors. Santa's Wish. I was literally listening to the Tenors all weekend long. They're amazing. Go check them out. They have a new Christmas album. That's a free endorsement for them. I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. You can follow me everywhere at Serafini TV. Joining me, I have...
It's Stefan Lovegrove. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dr. Lovegrove.
Yes, we have great movies this weekend.
Isn't it funny? It feels like with only 4 movies to talk about. Last week we had 6, 7, and a guest, something like that. And so it feels like we have nothing. We actually have quite a bit to talk about, but it feels so light compared to how much we had last week.
We do. And if you guys are tuning into the iTunes version, you should definitely go check out our YouTube. We have a lot of pictures and whatnot, but also, Stefan and I are pretty dressed up right now. So.
We are snazzy. I'm not going to lie, I do miss the Christmas sweater and the Santa hats, but we look very snazzy for those of you watching on video. And let's just give a welcome to the dance party watching in live chat because she, whoever this is brand new. So welcome, and welcome to those of you who are always here.
Welcome to our show. Yeah, to answer that, we're dressed up because we're going to a special event, and that's all we can say for now. And I don't have the Christmas ornaments because, long story short, my car broke down over the weekend, and all the ornaments are in my car.
But more importantly, was there a handsome man there to fix it for you to have a Christmas romance of your own?
Not that I saw, unfortunately. Maybe when I go pick it back up.
There you go.
We'll see. Some fun things before we get into our magical movies and Christmas movies. The National Christmas Tree Lighting in Washington, D.C. airs today, but it occurred over the weekend, and we had Bill Abbott and Michelle Vickery a part of that. They went down over to Washington, D.C. to be at this ceremony, and it's a yearly thing. And I was following their Instagrams, pictures and stuff, and it looked like a really great moment. They were there and talking at the event, and it airs on Hallmark Channel today as of December 4th, 2017. And go check it out, the Christmas tree lighting in Washington,
I think it's
DC.
airing right now, live, if you're on the East Coast and watching us live.
Yeah, so if you're watching that first, come over to us, or vice versa. So I definitely have that checked out on my DVR, and I'm going to watch that. Also, congratulations to Meghan Markle, who's also a Hallmark star. She's starred in Dater's Handbook and When Sparks Fly, but she just got engaged to Prince Harry.
So exciting! Congratulations to the two of them.
I mean, I'm really excited for that. People are rooting for her, and they look like a beautiful couple. And I cannot wait to see. The photos
are beautiful. Have you seen interviews the two of them have done together? It's such a fun chemistry. You got to check them out.
Yeah, they're super cute. I'll have to go check out more of those. But I cannot wait for the wedding when they...
A true royal wedding.
Another royal wedding that we can all look forward to. But, we always congratulate our fellow Hallmark stars, too. So she has a Hallmark story of her own. And then, last but certainly not least, When Calls the Heart Season 4 is now available on Netflix. So excited for all the Hardies who only watch it via Netflix. I know there are actually a lot of Hardies out there who have watched When Calls the Heart only because of Netflix, because it was there. It was available to them, and they found it through that avenue. I mean, that's the great thing about Netflix and Amazon and all that. But Season 4 is now available on Netflix, so go binge it, Stefan.
I
This is
need
a
to.
perfect excuse to go binge it.
Well, because I was telling Marissa, I have been limited to what Hallmark has on demand, and they had all of Chesapeake Shores. If you have most cable or satellite providers, those were all on demand, but When Calls the Heart was not, but it's on Netflix.
But it's on Netflix now, so you can catch up before the season 5 premiere, February 18th of 2018. We have a lot to watch and look forward to for you. I've seen it, but you need to catch up. All right, let's get into our first Christmas movie, Christmas in Evergreen, that aired on Hallmark Channel. Your quick thoughts about this one?
Well, okay, let me say overall, I did not like this weekend quite as much as last, but that's a little unfair because last week we had 6 to choose from overall. I do think, from my personal preference, the Sunday, and please let me know what you guys think in the chat, in the comments, or on Twitter. I think Sunday's movies were stronger for me than Saturday's overall. That being said, I thought Christmas in Evergreen specifically, I thought it was really cute. I love movies that have to do with making wishes and wishes coming true, and I will definitely watch it again.
Yes, I really enjoyed it, and of course starring Ashley Williams, who's been in so many Hallmark movies, Teddy Sears, Marcus Rosner, who's been in a lot of different Hallmark shows in and of himself, and then of course our good friend Barbara Niven, so we might be a little biased.
I could have used more Barbara. I think that's part of it, is I was so excited to see this movie for Barbara, and I know there's a lot of other stars in it, but I was so excited to watch it for Barbara. I could have done with more Barbara, honestly.
Yeah, I love Barbara, but even the playing the mother, like, I loved her character because she was like egging on the daughter, like, no, he's good for you, go chase it, you know. It's like, we can tell this chemistry. Like, she was that supportive parent in trying to, like, go for that relationship. She was in it.
Yes, and I wrote down Barbara Niven is absolutely the one to, like, call you out on your true feelings for someone. And I love that theme of this movie. You know, I wrote down the quote, "The heart knows what it wants even when the head doesn't." And obviously, I hear this from my clients all the time. That's true. The heart always knows. We can live in denial, but the heart knows. So I really like the theme of the movie and Barbara helping her come to terms with that.
Yes. You know, there was a lot of different things in this film that I particularly enjoyed. The whole storyline of moving to D.C., but every time she tries to go to D.C., her flight keeps getting canceled, or there's a snowstorm, or someone from the town calls her back for work. But of course, you already knew she wasn't ever going to make it to D.C.
Right. Well, and we knew because the little girl made the wish that they were going to spend Christmas in Evergreen.
Yeah.
So whatever had to happen, they had to get stuck in Evergreen for Christmas.
Yeah, I really like that snow globe. That is one powerful snow globe. Shoot.
I know. I want one.
So do I.
Actually, and I also thought to myself, this is maybe my favorite Christmas town that we've seen so far. Holly Lodge is maybe my favorite destination.
This year?
Of this year, right.
Okay.
That I think I would want to visit Evergreen of all towns so far.
I would like to visit Evergreen. I know that small town feel, so when everyone was there, it felt like a family. They all knew each other, and it was like a family-run business as well. I really enjoyed it. I liked the commercial transitions. Every time we came back from a commercial, there was a Christmas card type of slate.
Which, didn't that also happen in, was it Holly Lodge? No, Angel Falls. Which one had the advent calendar doors, it looked like?
Holly Lodge.
Okay, we had multiple that had a fade in from commercial effects.
But this one
Holly Lodge was beautiful. We got to get to that later, Lori. But we can't get started. But Marissa and I have so many things to say about it.
So many things. I love the Christmas festival that they put on. What were your thoughts of that?
Well, my favorite thing was sugar cookies, but no, but I think there were a lot. I don't know if they purposely grouped the movies together like this, but we've gotten kind of a couple of common themes throughout the weekends. And there was a lot of like organizing of festivals and things in this weekend's. And it,
event planning,
Right. And I was thinking to myself as I was watching this one in particular, because I feel like, do we miss out on that not living in a small town? And I think we have plenty of events in LA or in most major cities. I just think they're less special to us. I don't think it's the same dynamic as if it's a small town and everybody comes together and participates in it.
It's true, because because in a small town, that's literally the talk of the town. That is the one event that everyone's looking forward to. Where in LA, it's more saturated. People, there's so much going on in LA and so many more people that you can't get 7 million people to enjoy one event. You know?
And in this movie, wasn't it that their economy depended on it, and they had all these visitors coming in from, I think, Montpelier, was that the town they kept naming? And so they really needed people to show up for this event. So that made it kind of stressful for them.
Yeah.
Because it had to go successfully.
Yeah.
They were dependent upon this event. But
you knew the event was going to be successful.
You knew.
You knew.
You knew.
What did you think of the breakup with the boyfriend who, with the whole weather storm and that's shutting down everything, but the boyfriend actually coming to her in Evergreen and their breakup? It was very civil, and I wasn't expecting it to go that way.
I like those for a variety, like for change from the dramatic feelings are hurt, whatever. I liked the way it went down, but I do want to say I'm going to stand up for the bad boyfriend here for a moment. And I usually get here and I'm like, stop trying to win the girls with money and proposals. But here I do have to say, I thought it was really sweet that despite the fact that there was no traffic, the freeway was closed, the snowstorm, I thought it was cute that he found a way to get to her. And I know that we were made to not like the character overall, and I get that. And there were compatibility problems, but I just want to point out, I think that was a cute gesture. And if there was a snowstorm and somebody found a way to show up for me and was like, I couldn't bear the thought of not being with you, so I made it work, I'm gonna stand up for the bad boyfriend and say I thought that was cute.
And that's the thing. I don't even think he was bad necessarily. He seemed like a good guy. They just weren't together enough on screen for us to believe that they were a couple or they would ever work out.
But sometimes the boyfriend is like a jerk. I think that they had different priorities and different lifestyles, but I thought that was genuinely sweet. I don't think he was per se a jerk in this one, which is why they had such a civil breakup, and it was okay.
Yeah, and the whole understanding that they're both just not in the same place and they have different priorities in life, that's a real thing. That's very true to life. I enjoyed it. I liked it was civil, and it opened the opportunity to have Allie go to Ryan, because I did love that moment when Spencer did come back and Ryan saw, and just the immediate look of jealousy on him. That was not a pretty color on him. No,
well, but I love those awkward moments of like the two people sitting there. Actually, though, don't you think the airport moment was pretty civil?
Yes.
In terms of like,
there were
a lot of things were left.
Scenes.
I know, but I'm trying to remember. This is the one where he basically was like, she's staying in Evergreen. And it wasn't shady, it wasn't malicious, it wasn't a ha-ha, I win. I just thought, again, there was a lot of civility in what could have been some really painful moments in this movie. Yeah,
I liked it. It was clean. Overall, like any Hallmark movie, makes you happy at the end. And it was a sweet movie. And I loved stories when the kids were involved into. We had the little girl who's so good. She's been in a lot of Hallmark movies as well. But keeping everyone inadvertently by her wish, keeping everyone in Evergreen, I thought it was really sweet.
And I wrote down one more quote from this movie, is wishes are like Christmas cookies. Sometimes it takes a while for them to be fully baked.
Yes.
I will always come through with the cheesy quotes of the weekend from all these movies.
I have one for you. I loved the further the way you are from where you started, the closer you get to where you belong.
I loved that.
Sure.
Well, and wasn't that followed up by basically them saying, sometimes you end up right back where you started because that was where you needed to be all along.
Were meant to be. Like,
I gotta tell you, I gotta stop
true.
watching these Hallmark. If you watch enough Hallmark movies where people come back from the past or cities from the past or whatever, it'll make you think. It'll mess with your head and make you think you need to go back to your hometown and find an ex.
Right? Just go back to where you started.
Just go back.
Go back to your roots. That's why they say it. I did enjoy this one. It was filmed at Claiborne Village in Abbotsford. Another place is Deer Lake Park in Burnaby Village Museum. And Also, for the whole event, it was Pitt Meadows back in September and October of this year, so just a couple months ago. It was written by Rick Garman, who's done Enchanted Christmas, which we just talked about, The Perfect Bride, and Once Upon a Date, and directed by Alex Zam, who did A Christmas Prince.
Ooh.
Yes. And Crown for Christmas and Royal Christmas, which I know you love.
Oh, so all those.
Yes, all the good movies.
All the royal ones.
All the royal ones. Fun fact of this movie, this was originally called Snow Globe Christmas or Snow Globe Wishes. Very also fitting, too.
Well, and I was going to say, I think the snow globe and the word evergreen both got equal mentions, so it could go either way.
Yes. All right, moving on to Christmas in Angel Falls. Thoughts of this one?
I struggled with this one.
There was some hesitation there, yes.
There is some hesitation. I struggled with this one. And the thing is, so of course I'm going to give my disclaimer for those of you who are new. We all love different movies. We all have different opinions, and we all love Hallmark, despite we all having different favorites. I was trying to figure out why this one didn't do it for me. And honestly, my only conclusion was, well, two things. One, I didn't love the way they did the angel dynamics. It's not that I'm against the concept, because I know many of you watch Touched by an Angel. I grew up on Touched by an Angel. So I am not against the idea of angels, whatever. I just thought the whole angels, and then it was like she vanished out of it, and then, but it was really her choice. And I don't know, the angel story didn't work for me. Also, I just thought there was a lot going on. Like, I was trying to keep track of it all, and I felt like I was paying attention, but I just felt like I kept getting lost about, okay, there's a pageant, and then somebody died, and then there's a fire, and I was just like, what is, it was just a lot. It was a lot to keep track of, and it was not my favorite. Still love Rachel Boston, still love Paul. So I really expected to like it a lot, and it wasn't. Please let me know in the chat, those of you who did watch it, what did you think of it? I saw a lot of people on Twitter that really did like it. So again, we all process them differently. What were your thoughts, Marissa?
I do agree with some of the things you mentioned. Love Rachel, love Paul. I was watching a Rachel movie earlier today. I think she's great, and she's done a lot of Hallmark, obviously. I think the issue for me in this movie, and I don't really want to call it an issue, but the thing that was something that bothered me in this one was the whole character of Gabby Messenger. I was like, that's a little too on the nose. Messenger, angel, right. Messengers. But the thing is like the whole storyline, it is technically an ensemble because there's so many people involved, but the whole tone of the movie is obviously more serious, more dramatic. It's on Movies and Mysteries, so it's going to be more serious. Her character, Gabby, was like so overly perky, which isn't bad. It just didn't fit in with the serious storyline that was going on.
That's
and it
true.
Changed the dynamic a lot.
Honestly,
I was like, this girl is too perky for the situation she's in right now.
Her angel character could have been either a Hallmark Channel movie or even, dare I say it, like a Ion or Lifetime or like, you know what I mean? Her character was this really perky, very outgoing, not shy at all. It just wasn't. I agree with you. Her character didn't necessarily, to me, belong on Movies and Mysteries.
Yeah, she was like overly energetic. I mean, it's great to be energetic and enthusiastic and whatnot, but I felt she was it was too much throughout the whole film, and then there was never like a moment where she actually was like calm. And with everybody else, it was also like the same, even dramatic playing field.
Particularly that we were talking about a lot of tragedy, a lot of grief and loss.
Death.
She was really perky with these questions for a lot of death to be talked about. And so Trisha said she loved it all except for the way they resolved the end. The thing is, if the end I feel like is superb, the end of a Hallmark Christmas movie can save it for me. But I really did not like the end. Yeah. So,
what were your thoughts of the idea of free will, not getting too involved, which we knew her character obviously was going to get too involved from how they established it in the first 2 minutes of her getting involved with people and her jobs that she has to do, her missions. But like the whole end where she decided she's now in love with Jack and she wants to become human, essentially clip her wings and she was all hunky-dory with it.
See, no, and this is what people are saying in the chat. I thought that was weird. I mean, again, I'm not against the angel concept, but in Touched by an Angel, to my recollection, none of the angels ever decided they just wanted to be human, and that was that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I thought it was very strange that she would just say, never mind, I'm done being an angel. I just want to be human. I don't know. It is an intriguing concept, Lori, and maybe it's just the like philosophy grad in me that overthinks everything, but for such an interesting concept, it felt very abrupt and strange of an ending.
I thought it was abrupt. I was like, whoa, this is a quick way to end this movie.
For her to just say, I want to be human, okay, and basically we're done. Let us know what you thought afterwards, Lori, because it was definitely very interesting.
And even
sure.
Michael, her fellow co-angel that she's been working with this entire time, Bo Bridges, is like, okay, yeah, sure. If you want to, go for it. It's something like she could have done this hundreds of years, and it's like, yeah, I just want to be human now. Done.
Well, and what does that mean? Does that mean she's now going to age? Does that mean she's going to die like a human?
Mortal?
Does that mean she goes back to being an angel after, like, so many questions unanswered, and I guess we don't need them for the storyline, but I don't know.
I did like what she did for the town. Obviously, her whole mission was to bring back the Christmas spirit by helping others help themselves in a way. Like, she brought people together. She brought, a mother and a son back together, two friends back together. I did like that she instilled her enthusiasm, I guess you can say, onto people and helped actually get the town back in a more acceptable an accepting way of, like, they wanted to allow Christmas back. I did like that, but I think just the dynamics didn't fit.
Well, and it was a very good Christmas movie dynamic of how traditions and celebrations kind of get shut down over time just because, because people get busy, but also because people are in pain. You know what I mean? And I thought that was a very accurate representation of people being in pain, and so they don't want to do the traditions, they don't want to do the ritual, they don't want to do the celebration, and it was again the theme of the weekend, organizing things for towns. She did bring people together and bring a lot of healing by doing that,
and getting that recreational center up and back working again. Like, she did a lot for that community just within the short amount of days she was there. I really liked Jack. He was a great character. Obviously super nice, very helpful. Everyone loved him. He had a great personality.
That makes me think about the fire conversation and him telling her he blamed himself because he was supposed to be on duty that night and he wasn't, and then his friend passed away. Here's the thing. It should have had the tone of A Joyful Christmas, which we both loved.
Yes.
That movie had a very serious tone, so it seemed appropriate, all the serious conversations we had in that movie about crime, adoption, all these things. This movie, we're talking about, like, somebody died and you're blaming yourself for it and all this stuff, but the tone was a little bit all over the place, so it just, the serious was weird.
Yeah, I just felt the emotional tone and the character dynamic just did not fit with the storyline.
And I'm glad that we're not the only ones unsettled by the ending.
Okay, good.
I don't want to say lots of bad things about the movie because it wasn't a bad movie.
I felt like it was too quickly wrapped up that it didn't feel like a resolution.
Right. Well, I actually, you know what I thought? I thought that when it, like, poofed and she was back there by herself, because I thought he said they're going to have no memory of you.
Right.
So I thought that she was just going to be at peace with that, and that felt weird. And, that didn't seem satisfying, but then what ended up happening was even less satisfying to me, and I was like, this is just strange. It was a strange movie.
Yeah.
Maybe I do need to watch it again to try to understand it better. I don't know.
But if you did like this movie, I suggest City of Angels. So good. That's a better drama movie.
Right. Agreed.
And I felt like this one is a mix of City of Angels and the Adjustment Bureau. Like, you can't mess with their free will.
Okay.
You can kind of, like, force them. Not really force. That's a terrible word. Like, kind of steer people into the right direction, but you can't make them do it themselves. So that's also like the Adjustment Bureau. And, of course, It's a Wonderful Life. Everyone loves that one.
Of course.
So it's a mix of all three of them in this movie. All right, let's get to Christmas at Holly Lodge, starring Alison Sweeney, Cheryl Lee Ralph, and Jordan Bridges. Your thoughts of this one?
So I told Lori we were going to come back to Holly Lodge, obviously in order, but also because we loved this.
We did love
Like, usually I try to hold back my thoughts so I can tell Marisa on air, live with all of you, and we haven't talked about it before, but I could not resist texting you and saying, I love Holly Lodge. It was such a good movie, and I love Allison, but obviously loving the star isn't enough for me to automatically love the movie. It was just a great movie, and to me, it's the new Let It Snow. That's the one with the lodge, right?
Yes, it is.
And so to me, this is the new Let It Snow, and I hope that it plays over and over again around the clock, because I felt like, again, let us know what you thought about Holly Lodge and all of these in the comments, but I thought this was a new Hallmark classic.
Let Us Snow. Heyo. I really liked this one, Holly Lodge. We were texting at the same time because we were both watching at the same time. This movie had so many moments in the first 30 minutes. I was genuinely laughing out loud. There was just a lot of quirky
funny
moments. They were legit funny moments.
This was one I wanted to tell so my mom depends on me to tell her which Hallmark ones to watch because she does not have time for 23. Somehow I do, apparently.
Somehow we do.
And so this was one that I said I should tell them to watch with my little siblings because it's funny. Her like knocking on the pipes and the wake up calls, and this one had so much humor in it.
There was just a lot of good dialogue in it too. It's like, go back to bed for all of our sakes, you know. And especially, I think one of my favorite moments, which I usually save to the end of this movie discussion, is when he's trying to get the one horse open sleigh to move. And she's like, I don't think that's how it works. And he's like, oh, giddy up.
And he whispers.
Hysterically. He's like whispering instead of yelling. I just think that there was just cute, quirky moments that were legitimately funny if you actually saw them in real life.
Trisha has not seen Holly Lodge yet. For any of you who are listening to this, I definitely recommend, if you watch any of them from this weekend, at any point that you're listening to this in the podcast, watch Christmas at Holly Lodge. It is one of the best of the season.
Yeah, and the great thing also about this, I mean, there were other obviously supporting characters in this movie, but they were all cool and fun, and they all had their own individual storylines. I mean, we had the friend who went on the date, who was going to go on the date with the other friend. I'm completely blanking on the names for some reason. But then we also had Cheryl Lee Ralph, who plays Nadine.
Callie?
Yes, Callie, thank you.
Which I liked Vince.
Yeah, Callie and Vince, that's
I
it.
would have been just as happy with Vince as a lead. In fact, this is my request to Crown Media. Can we bring that actor back to be a lead? Because I thought he was sufficiently Hallmark lead material.
Right. Can we get another movie with just them two?
I would watch Callie and Vince. We had two great couples.
Yes, I loved Callie and Vince. They were nice supportive characters to Sophie Bennett, which is actually funny. I actually know a Sophie Bennett in real life, so.
Oh.
Yeah, I do. Small world. And then when we had Nadine helping set up the whole Skype video for the daughter and her father, who's away in the military, I thought that was super sweet. Especially how she didn't even know how to do technology.
Well, okay, and this is a perfect example. So, first of all, you know the Sunday ones are good because I watch them all within a 36-hour time frame, right? 24 hours sometimes. So if I liked the Sunday ones when I'm on movie 3 and 4, you know they're really... I thought this was a good contrast of like there were multiple storylines and multiple people going on. But instead of when I was watching the Angel Falls one, it was just like another storyline. What is going on? This one, I was like... followed it, no problem. All of the storylines I was engaged in. I cared about Nadine. I was so happy. Honestly, one of my favorite moments of the movie was when Nadine sang at the end.
Yeah.
That was a triumph. I mean, Trisha, you've got to see this movie. It's so good.
It was so good because in the earlier the movie, they teased that. It's like, oh, I won't be able to sing and whatnot. And I was like, of course she's going to have a moment to sing. And it was just a great moment that wrapped everybody up. You know, and they're all like actually there and happy and joyous.
And it resolved in a delightful way.
It did.
It really did. And you know what I realized that made this one so fun is, and I don't remember, to my recollection, this did not happen in Let It Snow, but usually in the movie, if there's some, like Bramble House, remember a Bramble House Christmas from a couple weeks ago? Normally, they find out about the plan to buy it out or the plan of investigation. They find out at the very end, like at 9:40, they find out, and that's the conflict. this was a fun dynamic because she found out at like minute 18 or something.
Yeah, it was
So
early.
she said, well, now we have the upper hand and we're going to essentially convince him this is a bad investment.
Right. I actually wrote it down. Revealed in 25 minutes into the movie. Quotation, surprisingly early, like parentheses actually, and which is something that we never, well, I shouldn't say never, but we hardly ever see. It's very rare. But I liked how they took this information and like played with it. Banging on the pipes, having the early morning wake up calls.
It was hilarious. I'm still laughing.
Literally running with it. And it was hysterical every single time we kept watching their pranks.
Well, and the funny thing was, when I was watching her with the kids, I realized she's really doomed in ruining his experience because there's so many other people that she cares about. And this is her life and this is her passion. So she can't actually make this a bad experience. But you know what I mean? She's still going to show up for the lodge. She's still going to show up for all her other customers. And he's going to witness what makes it so magical. So it was funny as she's trying to ruin it with like a wake-up call. And little did she know, this is what I thought was so cute. She's viewing him as like the big bad enemy. But meanwhile, he's actually doing research. By the end of it, not in some insidious plan way, he's trying to save the lodge for her. And I thought that was so beautiful.
Yeah, and I loved watching his character too.
We should have given a spoiler alert because we are throwing out spoilers and people haven't seen it. I apologize.
Oh, we haven't. But yes, I mean, if you're watching us, you do realize this is very spoiler heavy. So plug your ears if you haven't seen this. But yes, even Evan Hunter, I liked his character because she knew all along of what he was doing, but he didn't. And so not once was he like really conniving or manipulative, and how he was playing with the kids, how he was interacting with all the other people and guests at that lodge. Like, he was an actually genuine nice guy, and I liked that. And he was funny too, especially with that.
Yes, and he was multi-dimensional. He wasn't just like the business person without a heart, the Scrooge.
Yeah.
Like, he was, again, I really think the characters were so strong, the writing was strong, the movie was fun, you laugh a lot, definitely a very good one.
A lot of good moments, and I wrote a lot of them down. Giving directions to the lodge when he was asking for directions.
Yes.
He's like, you turn left here and fork. And I was like, that is so Midwest.
It was so complicated. I was trying to mentally follow it, and it was so much going on.
It's funny because I'm from the Midwest, and that's exactly how we tell directions. Like, you turn left at the cornfield here. You turn right at the dairy farm here. It's like, yes, I totally know what that's like. And then that whole love at first sight moment when they first see each other and like automatically like starstruck with each other.
See, you need to keep your eyes open. I keep telling Marissa she needs to keep her eyes open in her life or she'll miss her own countdown to Christmas.
Eventually I'll have a Hallmark moment, hopefully. Yeah, but the whole babbling and the blushing moment, it's like, I just slammed the door right in her face.
See, Lori knows Let It Snow, and it is kind of a similar premise, but different twists. And don't you feel like, those of you who did see this movie, don't you feel like it had enough different things in it? It really felt unique. It was enough surprising things, even the way, without giving more of a spoiler, even the way it all came together at the end. And she, like, we knew, of course, it's going to end up being okay. She's not going to lose the lodge. It's Hallmark. But how that ended up coming together, I thought it was very unique for a Hallmark movie.
Right, and I really liked the reveal because we knew that the lodge was eventually going to be saved, but I didn't know how. But realizing that the parents helped out with the insurance wrapper that paid off the mortgage.
Oh, we're just giving it away. I was trying to avoid the...
Sorry.
But yes, if you liked Let It Snow, you should like this movie.
Yes, but just like even the whole wrap up of like how she saved it, like I didn't expect that.
Well, and it was nice because sometimes the resolution is we'll worry about it later. We'll give you some time. You're okay for now. This was like she's gonna be okay. Like everything has really been resolved. She can move into the new year feeling great. She's gonna be more than okay. I thought that was a great resolution, and it was just such a feel-good movie.
It was.
And that joy to the world.
Yes.
I am telling you guys, that joy to the world sing-along at the end. It was just a great ending.
I love this one. This was my favorite one out of this whole weekend.
I agree.
Yeah. A lot of light moments, great writing, great acting, great moments. All right. And moving on to the last one, Magical Christmas Ornaments, that aired on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, starring Jessica Lowndes and our awesome Brendan Penny from Chesapeake Shores. They play Marie and Nate. Thoughts of this one?
So I don't know if you liked this as much as I did. I really liked this movie.
I like this one.
Like I said at the beginning of the show, I thought Sunday's movies were my favorite over Saturday, both of the Sunday ones. And again, this is movie 4. And I watched 2 Lifetime this weekend as well. So this is literally movie 6 that I watched in a row. And by the way, the Lifetime ones were good as well. So I'll throw that out there as watch 4 Christmases and a Wedding, very Hallmark
I
approved.
have them DVR'd.
And My Christmas Prince, both of them very Hallmark approved, not tacky Lifetime ones. Anyway, the point is, for this to be movie 6 and for me to like it so much is a good sign. And when it started, I was like, wait a second. Of course I'm going to like this. A, I love New York. And
there you go.
You already have me sold because it's a New York Christmas movie. B, I like Jessica Lowndes. I've watched her ever since 90210.
Yes.
I loved her in Merry Matrimony. She's great.
We like that one.
And we like Brandon Penny. And those of you who were with us for Chesapeake Shores after show, before Happy Hallmarkies, you love Brandon Penny as well. So because of the combination of New York, Jessica, and Brandon, not a surprise at all that I liked this movie.
I really enjoyed it. Admittedly, it took me about 10-15 minutes to get into. I had a hard time getting into it. But once the ornaments started
How did
arriving,
it start? Was this the one that I was thinking about you and laughing about? Would Marisa have rewound the ending? I think that might have been Christmas in Evergreen. I don't No, the beginning was just credits over New York. I don't think there was anything weird in this beginning.
It was actually very simple. But I did like how they established a character. She's a hard-working woman who's kind of stuck where she is in her career, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. I definitely know, and I think it was a good establishment of both of these characters and how they just met. They live in the same building, all that jazz. But when the mother storyline kind of got involved, when all the ornaments started coming and it started reflecting on her life, I was like, oh, I get it. I like this. It kept. With every new ornament, we knew we had another new event to look forward to.
And the pieces came together a little bit out of order, like the lighthouse being the final piece. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just one right after the other sequentially. It was kind of this puzzle that she was figuring out that all came together.
Yeah. And I did love the obvious Hallmark keepsake placements.
Oh, but I wrote it down, but you've got to, because the keepsake ornaments are so special.
Yeah, you had the Angel of Winter Wonder, which was the Aurora, and Christmas Carol ornaments. But one of my favorite lines was, "Memories build the bridge between mind and heart." I mean, that's sweet.
That was such a good line.
So
I wrote down
Deep.
the Emily Dickinson line he quoted: "The possible's slow fuse is lit by the imagination."
Yeah.
And this movie had ice skating, which is just one of my favorite Christmassy things to have. Brendan tweeted. It's Brendan?
Brendan.
It's Brendan. I thought it was. Brendan tweeted and said, "Is there anything more romantic than a first-time ice skating date?" And I thought that is the truth.
That's true. And it's a Christmas. There's always ice skating. I did love the moment when they were ice skating. He's like, I forgot how to turn. And he runs into the glass. I was like, oh, that looks painful.
She kind of reacted
hysterical.
like less than you would expect. She kind of just stood there and let him crash.
Okay, you all right? I think another fun moment was when they were having that friends party night, and they were doing charades, I think it was charades, and there was the line, it was like, we did this the other night, and then I don't know if you noticed, but the friends on the couch in the background were like, what? I was like, that's probably the only
clever writing
that you might have
in there, Hallmark.
missed on Hallmark every once in a while. But I did enjoy this one, and I did love the story of how it ended up with her in her career. She's a nonfiction writer who wanted to go back into fiction, and how it just all played out. I think it was very well done.
Well, and I thought, I do like New York City, as I said earlier, but I liked the whole dynamic. I thought it was very realistic. And he needs to loosen up on the neighbors thing of you should look up from your phone. Can we address that in New York, busy people You know what I mean? You may never, there's certain neighbors, I try to say hello to people in my building, in my community, but like there's certain people you never see. I think it's perfectly reasonable that they had never seen each other. I guess they're next to each other.
Yeah.
But
like,
still,
they're
what if they
literally
have
neighbors.
opposite schedules?
It's like the distance from where they live is literally 15
It's
feet.
embarrassing.
It's
Well-
from where I'm sitting to our door to the studio.
I just thought
if I
that-
don't see you for one time during 6 months, then there's a problem.
Then you're not paying attention.
Exactly.
But I did think the whole dynamic was very realistic of the Christmas music coming through the walls, annoying her. Her line I thought was funny about, I can't risk it with a neighbor, especially with rent control. I thought that is such a real thing.
I was thinking, I was like, this is New York and the gorgeous apartment she's in. How much is she paying?
Oh, what a beautiful apartment. Now,
Gorgeous.
and how can they both afford that apartment? Good questions that we don't ever discuss with Hallmark movies.
Well, the fun thing is those apartments probably were not in New York because they usually don't film in New
Correct.
York.
But you know what? There were so many good themes. I loved the note from her mom about all these different places, including the lighthouse. And
Yeah.
love can find you anywhere, which is so true.
It is.
And also the line about if you use pain as a shield, you block everything good. This one hit me
Yeah.
on a deeper, more true to like real life, I think, level than maybe Evergreen. This one just hit me on a deeper heart level of like, it is true. We do block good things because we've been hurt in the past.
Yeah. I loved it. It's very true, realistic. Overall, I did enjoy this film because, especially with the whole puzzle pieces of the ornaments, it was just that slow reveal that you yourself as a audience member just watching it are still trying to figure it out too. Usually we can figure out the storyline in like the first 10 minutes.
We didn't know it
But
was going
this
to
one
end
we're
up
like,
at the lighthouse.
oh, look at that.
With the beach and
Yeah.
his parents and it all
Like how they
came
were
together.
tied together. I think it was all nicely, concisely put together.
And I liked the timing of Clark, her ex-boyfriend, coming back.
Yeah.
I liked the way that played out and how it kind of moved the storyline forward, and her with the children's book. That was a nice side storyline, I thought.
Yeah. I didn't like Clark, but I did like what he do, like you said, progressing. But thinking that it was okay to just write their personal stories and to have her be an editor.
And thinking it was
That's
okay
just-
to take her idea and
Right.
then want her to be happy about it. I was like,
just-
this is another Martin.
Right. That's just tacky.
Right.
It was tacky when you're like, okay, you're clearly thank goodness you guys are exes because you do not belong together.
Right.
I didn't like his character just for that, but it did steer her into the right direction. And having her had that moment like, no, I'm not happy with what I'm doing for reasons just like this. I'm going to resign my job and do what I actually want to do. Follow her heart, she said. Just going to follow her heart.
Literally, I wrote down so many quotes from this movie. Keep marching forward and boulders will turn into stepping stones.
Yep.
This was a great one to live tweet. You know, my favorite moment of this movie was all the ornaments were very much on display.
Yes.
But I loved that golden open heart. And she said, her mom said a simple open heart. And then she said, the beauty of life is it changes based on our perspective. I was like, this is full of wisdom. I
It
loved
is.
this movie.
And I
what a
think-
good Sunday night.
That's what's great for parents because it makes sense if it's coming from the mom who's a parent who you can automatically assume are full of wisdom, imparting that onto their children. I thought it was beautifully written and it was a well thought out story put together. Because sometimes when you have a lot of things and you try to put it together, it doesn't fit. This one did.
Yeah, I just thought everything came together very nicely.
Yes.
Definitely watching again.
I did really enjoy this one. Movie count, yes, I put it in
23.
numbers 23, so we're at 23.
Because we were at 19 last week.
Yes.
23. Next week we'll be at
23.
27.
I know how to count. Not really. All right.
Another
anything
Martin. I'm
else?
glad you guys know the
It
reference.
is another Martin. All right. So upcoming movies that we have this weekend, we have The Christmas Cottage, which will be on Hallmark Channel, starring one of your favorites, Stephen Lund.
I'm so excited because I love Steve Lund and
Mary Patterson.
he's in Christmas Incorporated.
Yes, yes.
One of my all-time favorites besides him being in it. But when I saw that this movie was coming with Steve Lund, it made me excited.
Yes. And your other favorite, what was it? The Christmas holiday party? The best Christmas
The best
holiday.
Christmas party ever.
Goodness.
Another one of my favorites with Steve Lund.
Yes, you love Steve Lund. So East Coast feed, it's 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern for our East Coast. Next we have Christmas Encore, which stars Maggie Lawson, who we love, and Brennan Elliott, who's also another big Hallmark leading male. That's Saturday, December 9th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then
Stop with these fake times. Guys, it's not at that time unless you have a weird feed like Marisa.
It's my time.
These are fake news
All right,
times.
fine, I'll just say the dates. All right, Sharing Christmas is our third one on Hallmark Channel, starring Ellen Holman and Bobby Campo and Dave Koz, the musician. That's Sunday, December 10th.
Which one is the Karen Kingsbury one?
That's the next one. That's Karen Kingsbury, Maggie's Christmas Miracle on Hallmark's Movies and Mysteries. That's starring Jill Wagner, love her, and Luke McFarlane. That's Sunday, December 10th. We're gonna bawl our eyes out to that one. I watched the preview to it. I'm like, I'm afraid.
First of all, I do like both of those leads, so I'm
Yes.
already very excited. If it's Karen Kingsbury, my aunt will be watching Hey Aunt Tiff, and we will cry. Also, though, the other Sunday night one, what is it called? I can't read your sheet from here. I apologize. Sharing Christmas. That's the name. I'm so excited because I love jazz, and Dave Koz is a really big jazz musician and I was wondering when the commercial starts, if you guys haven't seen the commercial, it has like a music video credit, and I was like, why is there a music video listing on the commercial? It's because he has a performance in the movie.
Yes.
And he's very prominently featured. So I'm excited about that one for Dave Koz.
Sharing Christmas. So that's on December 10th, and Maggie's Christmas Miracle is also on December
It's going to be a great weekend.
I'm so excited, especially for the Maggie's Christmas Miracle. I love Jill Wagner. We love Karen Kingsbury with the bridge and all that. So
Which
we're
I
gonna
have
bawl
DVR'd.
our eyes out. So here's a fun thing for you guys. Someone else did make a Christmas Hallmark, or more so a Hallmark drinking game for Christmas. I made one too. It has kind of the same concepts, but we changed it a little bit for you guys. So as you can see, if you're watching us live, we have some fun topics, fun drinking points like snowball fight, ice skating, Christmas tree farm, or tree shopping, which every single movie that we've covered so far has Christmas tree shopping and a Christmas tree farm.
Which is
and
funny with
Christmas
Balsam
decorating.
Hill because there's been a lot of tree shopping.
So many.
As well as Balsam Hill somehow.
Yeah, so many. And like hot chocolate, of course, eggnog, decorating tree, Christmas music, unwanted pairing, which a lot
What
of
does
movies.
that mean?
So, for example, the Christmas train, which we just talked about last week, they were paired together. They didn't want to be. We had Danny Glover's character like, you should work with her, and you two should write a story.
Got
you know,
it.
like the unwanted pairing, which or also
We know how it ends.
with Love with Christmas.
Yes, I was just thinking about that
With
one.
Love
I
Christmas.
rewatched it last night.
Yes, how they had to work together on the same project. So that type of unwanted pairing where they're forced to be
Or
together.
Best Christmas Party
Yes.
Ever. My
But-
all-time favorite with
Yes.
Steve Lund. Please watch.
So there's an example of that. Death of a loved one. Any reference to a death of a loved one, yes. Drink could definitely do that. When kids start the plot line. So, for example, for Christmas in Evergreen, we had the little girl making a wish.
Those kid
That helps starts
instigating it
the plot
all.
line. That's an example. Or also, you could kind of switch that also when the kids are smarter than the parents. Like switched at Christmas when the kids knew that was their aunt and not their mom. Like the moments when the kids are smarter than the adults. The awful boyfriend or girlfriend, interchangeable. We had one in this weekend.
We had a lot of them this weekend.
Yeah, bad breakup, which they usually reference to. Near miss kiss. We had several of those.
Several.
Mistletoe. There's always mistletoe, but you take a shot at that one. That's a fun one. And misheard conversation.
Oh, those misheard
often.
conversations.
So often that starts the whole conflict. And a snowstorm, which we definitely had in Evergreen, that caused a whole issue. Everyone couldn't get on their planes. And then there are 2 extra bullet points for you to add your own rules to drink. And if you want, I will provide the link below to this PDF, to this particular one, if you want to follow along. Be happy, be drunk. Be happy.
Yeah, I was
It's going to
wondering-
be awesome.
I was already
So-
like seeing which ones I could add, and I was thinking every time you see a Santa Claus,
Oh, Santa
or-
Claus.
or-
Santa. That's a good one.
or every time someone opens up a present.
Ooh, yes, that's a good one too.
I was going to say ornaments because you have the tree shopping. Well, that's included with decorating a tree, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
Is the ornaments.
But those are what the 2 empty bullets are there for you. Have fun, add your own rules, add more rules. It's fun. Someone else made a list too. She had Coke and I made Pepsi. Boom. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in. Let us know what you thought about the show and these movies. And we have great movies to talk about next week. In the meantime, where can everyone follow you, Stefan?
Yes, Dr. Lovegrove on Twitter and Instagram. And I will watch next weekend's with all of you with great delight because I think it'll be a great weekend.
Yes, and it will be a great weekend for us. Thanks, everyone. I'm Marisa Serafini. You can follow me everywhere at Twitter. At Serafini TV. You can follow all of us here. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at AfterBuzz TV. All those fun social media platforms. Subscribe to AfterBuzz TV Drama for this particular show. We have Chesapeake Shores and Men Calls the Heart as well. Christmas movies just in general. And next week we'll actually get to talk about the event that we're going to as of right now.
And we might
Fun
post
stuff.
a picture, just not from the event necessarily, but James Lott, who many of you know, took a photo of Marissa and I. If it turned out well and we approve it, we may post it on social media. We shall see.
You guys, I'm in a dress. That's a very rare occasion. So hopefully maybe a picture will maybe hit the surface. We'll see. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.